Call the meeting to order. Great. Please be seated. Did that my ears or was that particularly slow?
Is it a different version?
It must have been. You trying to fool us there, Madam
There's something
CEO.
going on there.
It sounded good.
Yeah, next week it'll be four times. All righty, thank you very much. I don't mind the teasing.
We will begin this meeting of council by acknowledging that we're meeting on Aboriginal land that has been inhabited by Indigenous peoples from the beginning. Long before today, as we gather here, there have been Aboriginal peoples who have been stewards of this place. In particular, we acknowledge the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, Huron-Wendat, and Haudenosaunee peoples.
Thank you very much, Councillor Card. Takes us to item number 4 on the agenda. Moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper, that the agenda for the September 17th, 2024 council meeting be adopted as presented. Any comments? Call the question then. All in favor? Thank you. Any declarations of conflict or pecuniary interest? Seeing none. Item number 6.1 is the adoption of several minutes. So moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card, that the minutes of the July 16, 2024 council, July 29, 2024 special council, August 6, 2024 committee of the whole, August 22nd, 2024 special council, and September 10th, 2024 committee of the whole meeting be adopted as presented. Any errors or omissions? No, call the question. All in favor? Carried. Perfect. That brings us to item number 7, community announcements. Nothing?
No, motions, resolutions.
Yeah. Okay, number 8, our motions and resolutions. 8.1 is to make sure that we take care of our monthly service board member. Moved by Councillor Card.
Sure enough.
Cardy, thank you.
I'll refrain.
Okay. Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Crapper, that council approve the remuneration rates for the Leeds County OPP Detachment Board as presented at the September 10th, 2024 committee of the whole meeting. I think there should be a pretty serious debate on the small amount we're prepared to pay him.
Say it too loud, there's others that will be listening.
Thank you for your service. I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. 8.2, Public Works pre-budget approval plow truck. Moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper, that council authorize staff to order a 2025 turnkey plow truck at a cost not to exceed $250,000 plus HST using the canoe procurement program to be purchased from the 2025 budget. Before I open up for discussion, I just want to comment to any members of the public who are watching. This agenda tonight is full of recommendations, particularly this time around public works. But I need to remind you that these were fully discussed and debated a week ago at our committee of the whole meeting. So if you need background or, because as I read this, the public may go, that's an expensive truck. And that's exactly Councillor Card's questions to Mr. Evans last week, which were fully disclosed, and we understood that not just the cost of it, but the value of it. So YouTube channel on your Village of Westport, and you could see all of the details, because we tend not to have the debate the second time just for.
It's a great video, actually.
And the peanut gallery says that it's not a good video. So any other comments, though? I just on to paraphrase that so people had a sense.
I have one, because I've been doing a bit of my door knocking, and one of the questions, probably maybe because people hadn't seen some of the discussion of that, but it's good to. People's concern is about taxes in the future and how a purchase of that size could impact taxes in the future. And as I understand it, and this is through you too, Peter, that there are at least two ways that were in the briefing note that it wouldn't impact taxes. And that was that one of the vehicles that we currently pay for through a lease will come due, and we could use those dollars to offset the cost of the plow and or development charges. I just want to confirm that that's kind of in the ballpark of how we would be paying. Those are two of the options that you presented in the paper and briefing note on.
Go ahead, Peter.
Yeah, so through your worship, that is correct. Those 1 and 2 of the 3 ways presented as options to pay for this unit. Discussed further, of course, in 2025 budget deliberations.
Thanks.
Good, thank you there. Anything else? Call the question, all in favor? Carried. Thank you. 8.3, subsurface wastewater disposal investigation. It's moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card, that council engage Greer Galloway Group to complete a study to evaluate the area within 5 kilometers of the village in a southerly direction for a large subsurface disposal site at a cost of 18,000 plus HST with a 15% contingency. This is all budgeted money. Any discussion? Go ahead.
I don't think I'd had this last week, so I just wanted to see if I'm accurate in answering the question of what we would learn through this. So this is through you to Mr. Evans as well. Is it fair to say that we would learn about the type of land that is required for subsurface expansion, topography, rock, soil, etc., and the size of the land that we would require? Is that in essence, so I'm looking at approach to evaluation and the briefing note. In a nutshell, are those the two things that we're going to know at the end of this study?
So through your worship, so those 2 items as well as potential locations.
Oh,
So
really?
there's going to be a review of the existing site, just to get a good idea if the estimates used by the previous designs are functioning better than design, worse than design, same as design. That'll give us a good idea of the area of the beds that are going to be needed. So they're going to take a look at the existing site, but then it is confirming topography, reviewing sites, and kind of ruling out areas based on conflicts.
Is it possible that at the end of that, one of the findings is that there isn't the type of land that we require for subsurface expansion?
So certainly, we won't know until we look. We've been able to refine some of the details of what we're looking for over the past few months, as we've been working on this, but certainly possible.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Okay, good, thank you. Anybody, anything else? Right, I'll call the question, all in favor? Carried. The LaSalle Causeway closure resolution, I'll read it. This is really important. This is really important for tourism in the village. I can't overstate it. And the mayors along the Rideau are working together. We're doing more than just this resolution. We've sent correspondence off as a united front. It's going to be several years before the bridge is fully operational to allow water traffic through. We are waiting to hear, we're seeking a delegation to hear what the plans are. There is a significant cost to remove this temporary fixed bridge to allow vessels through from time to time. We've been given an estimate of a cost, which is Peter could buy a couple of trucks for the cost of moving it once, and yet the livelihood of the Rideau depends on the larger boats coming through. And on the east channel through Kingston, that's also too low. There's not enough height for them to get through. So I just don't want to read it and people's eyes glaze over. We just feel that there is a duty on the mayors of the Rideau to be really pushing back to the federal government without any consultation. We understand the challenges for the city of Kingston and to move the traffic from the east side of Kingston downtown. We understand that they need a solution. We also need a solution that works for the marine traffic. So I'm going to read it, but I wanted to put a little preamble there. So it's moved by Councillor Card, seconded by Councillor Crapper. Whereas Public Services and Procurement Canada reported damage and resulting closure of the Bascule Bridge section of the LaSalle Causeway in Kingston in the spring of 2024. And whereas the Public Services and Procurement Canada is planning to install a temporary fixed bridge in the former Bascule section of the LaSalle Causeway in Kingston until such time as a permanent bridge can be installed. And whereas the implementation of a fixed bridge is in direct contravention of the Canadian Navigable Waters Act, specifically the reform made to the Act in 2018. And whereas the Public Services and Procurement Canada has announced a timeline of 2 to 3 years until a permanent structure will be finished. And whereas this closure has already had a devastating impact on Rideau Canal vessel traffic, thereby reducing tourism in our communities and putting the future of not only the Rideau Canal operations, but our local economic health as a whole at risk. Now therefore be it resolved that Council for the Corporation of the Village of Westport hereby calls on the federal government to install a structure that will enable all marine traffic to pass through the LaSalle Causeway, commencing at the start of the 2025 Rideau Canal navigation season. And further that a copy of this resolution be forwarded to Minister of Transport Pablo Rodriguez, MP Mark Gerritsen, MPP Steve Clark, MP Scott Reed, PSEPC representatives and Parks Canada, the Honorable Premier Doug Ford, and Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. I'm going to add MP Michael Barrett. So it gets sent off to him as well. Any comments, any concerns? Go ahead, Barry.
Are you aware of any movement on the part of businesses all along the Rideau to approach the government with the united front as far as
Not yet. That's part of what the mayors are pulling together. But it's already closed. It was closed on the 18th. And so hopefully the big boats got out in time. But we're looking to see how can we quantify. It's part of what we've said is make them whole. Do something to make the businesses whole. So we're looking to see how do we quantify what that is. Question. Thank you. All right, I'll call the question. All in favor? Carried. Reports 9.1, volunteer recognition policy amendment. It's moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card. The council approved the amendment to the volunteer recognition policy as presented at the September 17th, 2024 council meeting. Any comments? Councillor Card.
Yep, I think we could possibly defer this. We can get a better criteria in place for our volunteers and what it looks like for us as a council and mayor. You know, how is there a limit? And just some more criteria so that it's clearly laid out for people who want to nominate people, and it's clearly laid out for us as well.
Okay. So that's a motion to defer. Is there a seconder? And so the deferral, Madam Clerk, the request is to, if there's only whatever number we have one, if there's only one person nominated, it's easy. But if there's 3 or 4 nominated and there's only one according to policy, I think what I hear is there's just not enough to really help us discern who should be recognized and who shouldn't. And I think Councillor Cardy's point, the nominators will know what the criteria are. So we could be getting some amazing, blowing away nominations, knowing that that's what the criteria are. So anybody want to weigh in on that? Councillor,
When we discussed this a long time ago, I also had thrown in the question of the Senior of the Year award. And I know that Kim and I had a conversation about it at that time, that sometime this fall, we would at least talk about similarly, if some structure around that, knowing that in the future it'll be a different council and that, finding the way that we want that to proceed ongoing, because it's an important award and it's viewed as an important award in the community. So is there a place for that to be
Not on
considered?
today's agenda, but you could make that a notice of motion.
Yeah, okay.
It's not a volunteer, it's a different thing.
Mhm.
And it's a different criteria, it's got a different history, you and I have talked about it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
So we'll do
it's
that.
not a we, when you said this is what we want. I think that's perhaps how you view it, but I don't know if everybody does, so we need to have a debate.
you and I don't.
Right,
Uh,
so you made a notice of motion.
Yes.
Very good. Anything else in relation to this? So we're, the motion now on the table is to defer until there are, more stipulated criteria. Call that question. All in favor? Very good. Okay, we are at bylaws. So, the 10.1 is also a deferral then, team, because that is the volunteer recognition policy. Can I just defer it because we've deferred the issue? Thank you. All right, 10.2 is the part lot control that we talked about at committee of the whole last week. It's moved by Councillor Crapper, seconded by Councillor Card, that bylaw 2024-25 being a bylaw to exempt certain lands from part lot control within the watercolor at Westport subdivision, specifically lot 55, plan 169, and block 1, registered plan 28M-23, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 17th day of September 2024. Any comments? So this is for people who didn't watch committee of the whole. This just goes back to the area around the minor variance that we approved a few meetings ago. This is just to make them legal entities for purposes of purchasing. Call the question, all in favor. Same, this is the next one. It's moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona, that bylaw 2024-26 being a bylaw to exempt certain lands from part lot control within the watercolor at Westport subdivision, specifically blocks 3, 4, 5, and 6 of plan 28M-23, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 17th day of September 2024. Same rationale. Call the question, all in favor, carried. And I think this is the final one. Moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that bylaw 2024-27 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the association. Sorry, back that up. This is not part lot control. This is the Canada Community Building Fund stream A. So let me slow down and read that. It's moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that bylaw 2024-27 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between the Association of Municipalities of Ontario and the Village of Westport for the administration of the Canada Community Building Fund be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 17th day of September 2024. Any questions? Sorry to muck that up, folks. Go ahead.
Not a question, just that it might help if we just put some context around it as to what it actually means and, for anybody that's watching that doesn't really know what is entailed.
Sure, I'm gonna go to Madam Clerk.
Thank you, through you, Madam Mayor. This is the old gas tax federal funding, and we get it annually. So this is just that the agreement has lapsed, and we need to renew another 5-year agreement to receive the funding.
Okay, and it's not stream A. You follow-up question or just confirming it's not stream?
Yeah, no, follow-up question, how does AMO fit into that?
They administer.
They administer the fund?
Yeah.
Okay.
The AMO administers a lot of government programs. It's a pass-through, but it's takes it away out of the government hands and into AMO. They've done it for years. The Blue Box program, the same sort of thing AMO administers.
Understood.
Everybody okay with this? Call the question, all in favor? 10.5 is the Ontario Trillium Foundation. Moved by Councillor Clardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona, that bylaw 2024-28 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between Ontario Trillium Fund and the Village of Westport for the purpose of accessing grant funding be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 17th day of September 2024. So as we remember, the Ontario Trillium Foundation grant is in relation to the accessible entrance at the library building. Any comments or questions? Councillor Craigie.
Through you, Madam Mayor, I think this is just an amazing opportunity for the library, for the village, to make our amazing library even better. I'm just wondering if you could, through you, Peter, tell us about maybe a timeline for when this needs to be finished or when it could possibly be finished?
So through your worship, we did make the request from the Trillium Foundation to get an extension from 6 months to a year.
Okay.
Which has allowed a little bit of breathing room, not a lot, still a quick project for that, but 6 months would have been difficult. So right now, the village is just waiting on a more detailed design of the ramp and access point, which will come back to for discussion. And then, so we are hoping that the latest would be in early spring, groundbreaking, if you will, but we're working out those details still.
Mm-hmm. Thinking of building code changing 1st of January.
Yes, your worship, so we're tying a whole bunch of loose ends together at the very end. We've got to get, we've got to.
You don't have to explain, sorry, that's, you saw the look on my face, that's
Yeah.
what the look was about. Is that all right then, Councillor Carney? Anybody else? Call the question, all in favor? Ten point six is the DWQMS auditing, moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that bylaw 2024-29 being a bylaw to authorize the execution of an agreement between SAI Removal and the Village of Westport for the purposes of DWQMS auditing, be read a first, second, and third time and finally passed the 17th day of September. Any questions? Call the question, all in favor? Thank you. All righty, notices of motion.
I would propose that we discuss the seniors of recognition award, the senior of the year award, just to have some structure around it. For consistency moving forward. Yeah.
All right, so the clerk will be in touch with you
Yeah, great.
for the timing. Sure. Very good. Any announcements? Lots of things going on, for sure.
Two things that I can think of, Friday, the Westport Readers play at 7:30, their home game. And then Saturday is Westport in the Village, for lots of music and entertainment and things going on.
Councillor Crawford.
The Orange Shirt Day event is on the 1st of October. The day after the Serenity Garden.
Yeah, the 30th of September.
Yes. And I know there's a lot of planning going on around that, but I promised Sandy I would mention it, that just to check in on the dates.
Just to help, glad I could help with the date.
Thank you.
And that we give staff day off. That's a recognition for staff. That hopefully they spend some time reflecting on truth and reconciliation, but several years ago, we passed it as a statutory holiday for all of our staff. Are you gonna talk about Serenity? Go ahead.
Anybody that's been by the Serenity Garden knows that it's pretty much done, and right now, just to walk through it, you see it looks pretty amazing. The recognition plaque's been installed. We'll do an official unveiling of that at the ceremony, but it is the final touch that just completes everything. The fountain is operational, and the grounds are beautiful, to say the least. So finally, after 2 years and various contractors and lots of volunteer hours, it's come to fruition. So everybody's quite pleased that it's a done deal.
Yeah, and staff, they really helped.
Yeah,
Get it
staff
across the finish
were
line.
picked up the loose ends for a lot of things that the contractor wasn't doing and the volunteers couldn't do. So kudos to staff, Peter and his guys for helping us out there.
Great.
Any other announcements?
One more, just everybody, that anybody's listening, don't forget about Photos draws in a couple of weeks, and it'll be a nice little paycheck to take home if you don't have a ticket. Myself or any photo member, and if you look at the photo page, you can actually e-transfer the money and get your ticket that way. So it's Don't forget about us.
And there'll be lots of ticket sellers out during Westport,
Yeah,
so you'll have the
and at the
opportunity.
games.
And we're figuring that it's gonna be,
We're hoping to get at least what we got the last time. I think we're around 15 right now
Yeah.
for the winter share, but we still have, 3 or 2 weeks left, so that's traditionally a heavy sales period.
so just because, in case people didn't hear, 15,000 is the winning share at this point in time.
Yeah.
Yeah. St. Paul's is having a yard sale and barbecue, so if you're coming to Westport on Saturday and you can't get into a restaurant, come to St. Paul's parking lot, there'll be breakfast sandwiches starting at 8. And then sausage and hot dogs for lunch, as well as really good stuff to help with the basement renovations that they did. I can't think of anything else. Okay, I'll move on. So we're at confirmation, or any questions from the public, any questions from the media? No. All right, then we'll go to number 15, which is confirmation bylaw. It's moved by Councillor Cardy, seconded by Councillor Aragona, that bylaw 2024-30 being a bylaw to confirm the proceedings at meetings held on July 29, 2024, August 6, 2024, and August 22nd, 2024, September 10th, 2024, and September 17th, 2024, be read a first, second, and third time, and finally pass the 17th day of September 2024. Call the question. All in favor? Carried. And adjournment. Moved by Councillor Aragona, seconded by Councillor Cardy, that this meeting of council, the Village of Westport, be adjourned at 5:29 PM. All in favor? Carried. We're adjourned.